this afternoon's work session on the multi-use sports complex improvements. I'll turn it over to the county administrator to start it off, then we'll get into our discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. So this evening, we'll just be discussing the multi-use sports complex, basically the soccer complex renovation that the county's been talking about doing for about 1.5 years now. So what I've got on the screen here for you all tonight is just, again, that conceptual site plan of kind of what the board has kind of tasked the staff to go and look at achieving as far as renovating this site. You can see all of the different site improvements there. Just to kind of go through each and every one of those, the entrance road would be somewhat realigned. Where the putt-putt course is currently would be a future maintenance building and area to be able to maintain that site. The parking lot, you'll see there, the larger section would be all asphalt. Currently it's a mix of asphalt and dirt. And then the bottom right-hand section where the Kwanzaa huts are currently, that would all be aggregate parking. That would be an additional almost 73 parking spaces. So the total parking spaces for the whole site improvement would be around 213 plus or minus. The existing structure, which is where that turnaround section is, would stay. We would not do anything with that. You can see all the sidewalk improvements. Those would, the majority of that is brand new sidewalk. You'll see the playground. That's that colorful section there, the green, yellow, and blue. Just to the left of that would be a brand new restroom facility. And then further west of that, to the left of that, is the existing concession stand. We had some improvements of that, mechanical and electrical plumbing, just kind of redoing that structure. Just to the left of that is a 25 by 25, just a full open overhead structure just for people to be able to sit up under. And then, of course, everything that would need to be done for the field of play, which would be irrigation, lighting, the netting to stop the balls from exiting the field itself, and then, of course, all brand new turf. Everything would be ADA accessible. Since this is within the city limits of St. Mary's, we do have to follow their tree ordinance. So you can see the tree canopy that we would be adding within the parking spacing there. That's, again, the general overview of the renovation project. We put out the project to bid, and we just got our bids back. We only received one bid, unfortunately, so there may be an opportunity where we may have to look at either one, value engineering, or two, rejecting that bid and then rebidding the project overall just to have another bid to actually be able to benchmark off of. So we'll kind of get some of that direction from you all this evening on how y'all want us to go about that. But overall, that's the general concept of the plan. One of the things that, I think has been on the board's mind is financing. So if you will, the Davenport and Company, if I'm going to save y'all a little bit of time and just go straight to page 14. So if you go to page 14, there's 3 different scenarios here, and you'll see where I've kind of pinned the actual interest rate that they're looking at on this is again a $4 million, if the board was to entertain a $4 million loan. This would be a direct bank loan. We would still go through ACCG for financing, but at the end of the day, it's still considered a direct bank loan. Scenario 1, that's if you just did a 10-year level repayment. Basically, your payments would stay the same for 10 years. Scenario 2 is if you only paid interest only in the first 3 years. So if you structured the loan over that course of that 10 years, just paying interest only in the first 3 years, and I'll explain why in just a minute once I get through going through all 3 scenarios. And then you'll see the remaining principal and interest payments there below that. Scenario 3 is if you only did a 5-year loan, but all you did was pay interest for the first few years there. So there would be no principal. And here's the reason why they're showing those scenarios that way, is that we are anticipating to fully complete SPLOST State all projects within the next 3, 4, 5 years. And again, timing is everything. So with that being said, that'll, obviously, we know we're going to have excess proceeds at that point in time from SPLOST States, and then that money will be able to be used to then pay on to this, and that's where you're seeing on that scenario 3, that 4.294 figure coming from. Now, if you look down below all of this, at the very bottom of the page, you'll see the 3-year early payoff scenario. You can see the total debt services differences between scenarios 1, 2, and 3. I think scenario 3 obviously pays the most dividends to the taxpayers, as well as limiting the general fund contribution to the project, but then also at the same time offsetting any other costs that you'll have through the project, with the total project costs being $4.8 million, or just over $4.8 million. And again, each one of these scenarios has a different interest rate component to it that Davenport's kind of analyzed here for us. Rates are, expected to come down a little bit, but still feel pretty confident that we'll be somewhere around these rates. So that's kind of your financing outlook, if you will. For scenario 3, depending upon when y'all want to begin this project, the first year may be around $225,000 in payment, and then the second, third, and fourth year would be somewhere around $190,000. So that's what you would be looking at incurring for the general fund for the first few years, and then after that, being able to pay the rest off with the excess proceeds from SPLOST State onto that debt service that we will have had at that point. With that being said, we only got one bid, so I know there's some discussion that probably needs to occur amongst the board to kind of finalize and give us some direction on how you all want us to proceed with this project. So, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you all.
All right. This is the only county-owned park where we have major recreation going on. I know we got some going on at Howard Peoples Park for T-ball, but this would be most impactful for the youth in our county that plays soccer, of course, or football, or any other sport we could do out there. I'm in favor of doing the whole project at one time. The only thing that worries me about the balloon payment, scenario number 3, is the cities, and I think everybody has to be done with their SPLOST projects. So that's the only thing about, is all timing. So.
And just to clarify, we did amend the SPLOST State IGA, I believe, 1.5 years ago, and we extended the deadline to complete all of those projects to 2031. So again, timing is everything, depending upon when you all want to start this project. Obviously that'll be up for consideration.
Mr. Boatwright, do you have the, when this presentation was first presented, do you have the rendering where it was broken up into bite-sized pieces? So like there was a red shade at the top?
Yeah, I think that's on here. Scott, this thing isn't working for me. There it goes. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, sir. So when we look at this, and I guess this is more of a general question, if we're talking about having to value engineer or limit the scope of work, from what I'm hearing, the major, most necessary changes are in that green section with the irrigation and the lights and the netting. Am I correct?
Well, and then the parking, which would be in the blue,
then
and then the light blue area.
And the,
And the yellow. The yellow is going to be a little bit of a cost there just because you're realigning that road.
If we were to put this back out for bid, hopefully with the hopes of the bid coming in lower or getting more bids, maybe we could limit the scope of work to the most necessary things out there. That's just my opinion if we're talking about financing or maybe
Yeah.
trying to reduce the amount we
I
need to
agree
spend on
with you.
this.
on that.
Well,
I think that ultimately we will have to value engineer some of it. That's just the way that's the way it works. But I don't want to do it. I want a nice system and a very, very safe system for the kids. So I went out there Saturday, and that parking lot was slam full. I mean, it was packed out there. So something has to be done with the parking. Of course, you already know something has to be done with the irrigation for sure. Because I've shared with you guys, I blew that line apart. And then the field itself with all the potholes and the different things there, that's got to be taken care of as well. Those three items, I don't think there's any wiggle room on.
Or any opposition. Absolutely. And my question with the yellow, that includes the main water line improvements coming into the facility as well as the road. Is that correct?
I don't think
That
so.
is correct?
Does it?
Okay.
So I think you
Oh, the
may be
sewer
thinking,
line.
this the water and sewer line, yeah. He's not talking irrigation.
No, I know the road, they're gonna fix the curve out on the end there, but also there's gonna be water and sewer.
That'd be
coming
where
in.
the water and sewer, yes.
But I do know it's on some sort of septic system currently, and there is water on the property. Is there something wrong with the well that's out there?
That well is inoperable, and it's also not configured to the right spec that it needs to be able to fully service that
And you're
size
back on the
area.
irrigation, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was
believe
thinking
so.
for irrigation, yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't think it has enough volume
Yeah.
to do the area.
So the engineers have spec'd out, over the course of the full year, over 10 million gallons to be able to fully service that site. Now, again, that's over the course of a full year, and on a 20 horsepower pump, which is what was spec'd in our plans, you're easily looking at a 6-inch well.
And wells aren't cheap.
So I guess my question would be, is a well cheaper than running water and sewer that distance to the property? Or we don't know?
Are you trying, I'm trying to understand your question. So are you trying to say that we would use the sprinklers from the city water?
Oh, boy.
Well, I don't,
Then you would have to incur monthly payments on
A lot.
hundreds of
water
thousands
use.
of gallons
I
on
guess, so what is the plan for the irrigation then?
the irrigation. So that back, I don't have a pointer, but
Where the pump house is?
yeah, where the pump house is, in the very back of the property on the far left side of that image there is where the existing well is. And all they would do is just re-drill that.
So the water and sewer is for the projected
Water and sewer is for
increased
the
use?
restrooms,
The increased use,
just for the restrooms.
okay.
All of the irrigation would be provided from that new well.
Martin, I remember when we spoke as well, you were saying we could probably forego the restroom improvements there, because it is a fairly nice restroom.
Yeah, I think we look at it from a standpoint when we get the dollar amounts in to try to maintain this, at least this.
Can you, yeah, there you go.
And these are my opinions.
Oh, yes, sir.
We try to maintain that it's almost $4.5 million, really. 4.33, I saw it, there it is. 4.33 is what we calculated in. So we need to try to at least maintain that. And if we can cut, of course we need to cut, if there's a possible way to do it and still maintain the same quality. I think that's important to do as well.
I know this conversation's for us, but can I ask, I see the head of the soccer club out there, and since they're out there daily and they know more about the maintenance operations, can I ask them a question?
Have to
Would you
ask
mind, Mike?
Chairman on that.
Or Mr. Chairman?
Come on up, Mike. Come on.
Yes, sir. Yeah, just because you're more, I see y'all out there pretty regularly taking care of things. I just have a question. So in the red space where they're intending to put like some sort of maintenance building, is that, for the maintenance that's going to be required out there, do you see that being absolutely necessary? If we make the improvements to the green section, do we have to have the red section?
Can I be frank with you?
Yes, sir.
Our concern is the playing surface of the complex and potentially the parking, which I know the parking has. So from our perspective at the soccer club, right, we look at inside the fence line because our insurance doesn't cover cars in the parking lot.
Right.
We cover players inside of a field. And even ADA, kind of doesn't really fall to us. It falls to the facility owner since we rent it. It's not our complex, it's your complex. For us, playing surface, irrigation, lights, allow us to expand field capacity by roughly 35-40% without actually expanding field capacity because, to your point, daylight savings time is going on now, right?
Right, you can play more
So-
games.
Well, it's not only that. We have practices going on during the week, and at 5:30, I don't know, the little guys are running into each other, and we're running into each other, and the parking lot does really become a problem when it's, kind of there. Our perspective at the soccer club, what we care about is, what we think you should care about mostly,
sir.
is in order, the main reason for nets, I don't know, it's kind of not on that. That's like a 40-foot hole on the other side of that thing. We've already had 2 kids go
Right.
down in that hole this week.
The borrow hole, right?
Yeah, we had 2 kids go down there. Now, as it's not really our problem, that's kind of a them problem, but if you can kind of like prevent it, then, we try. I mean, it's not, I'll say a them problem. It's just like, we can't police every kid that's running around out there, you know what I mean?
Right, but if there's a hazard on the side like that, the
It's
county needs to
hazardous
do
island,
something to
and we're-
mitigate that,
And again,
right?
we exist just fine within our existing structure as far as the bathroom and concession stand is concerned. The playing surface, because, do I need to go into detail? I mean, you guys.
We've seen it, yeah, it's
you
a
know,
bog, it's a big sponge
Well,
out
and
there.
we've had 2 injuries this year due to field conditions. Not major, they were sprained ankles and such.
Right.
Fire ants have been an absolute concern, and our concern would be like grass, I don't know that we need the highest end grass, sports turf available. Bermuda grass is pretty much,
But it needs to be playable, right?
needs to be playable. So if you're asking what our concern is, and again, this is not our
Right,
complex,
not,
it's yours.
right.
Inside that green, from the beginning, said inside that fence line, that's really where we live. Now, you guys live out here, it's up to y'all what you want to provide, as far as other stuff, but there are things that we are concerned about, and they're all inside of that fence line.
Right.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
I'm the one that put the playground in there because I thought that would be something for the smaller kids to do while the other kids are playing soccer.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel like is that gonna get used?
It could potentially get used. The question would be who's going to kind of police it, because again, to your point, we had kids down in a hole this weekend. Yeah, I mean, it's not necessary. We don't see it typically at other complexes, because when we take our kids out to our competitive travel teams or just our travel teams, we don't tend to see playgrounds out there. It's not Veterans Park, for example.
For sports, right.
Yes, sir. It's all directed at parks, sir.
Also, we had the walking trail on there, and we did that so that the moms wouldn't have to, at practice, just sit there. They could actually get a little exercise themselves.
Admittedly, that would be wildly popular
Oh, it will? Okay.
with,
So that's,
with our parents.
that would be a good thing. then.
Again, we had it. It used to, that golf, I don't know if y'all went out there kind of before y'all started looking at it.
I used to play that course.
So that sidewalk that kind of goes around behind the fence right there used to come all the way around to here, and then it was just that kind of grass road right there. And really, when they started construction out behind us is really kind of when that,
Disappeared.
yeah, it kind of became, because you can only go so far, it runs right, but it used to loop all the way around. Well, you can see it on that picture where it used to go all the way around, and up until recently, it still existed that way. As far as we are concerned, if you're asking my concern, sir, and that's all I answer, is playing surface. And again, my perspective as a taxpayer is if you're gonna put down a good playing surface, make sure you maintain it, because if you don't, it just looks like it does now.
Right.
So irrigation, that sort of thing. Lights allow for both the county, and for whatever reason, you can do multiple sports out there multiple days, because you're expanding the field because you're able to go longer.
Thank you, thank you.
And Mike, one more thing and I'll leave you alone. I was out there Saturday.
I wasn't prepared for any of this. Sorry.
Well, you were there. Were you there Saturday?
I was.
Okay, I drove out there just to see how packed the parking lot was, and it was packed. It's very difficult to get in and out on that road when somebody's coming the opposite direction.
So that was a light day for us, because it's Florida, Georgia, and we've learned the hard way not to schedule many games that weekend. Chairman Casey, you were out there one weekend where parking was significantly more difficult.
Well, see, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah.
I didn't see it all the way out at King
Can I
Clay
approach
Road.
that and just kind of, okay, all right, so kind of where it comes in, like right here, this is a rendition, but the old way, you come around the building, and we have a sign that says one way. It's routinely ignored, and it's kind of difficult to kind of go, so there's no like roundabout here, it's wooden logs, and you just kind of find a spot. And it's first come, first serve. We have to be careful, because emergency vehicle access is up there kind of on that side by that building. And we've had to go tell people to move. They don't like it. But we try to keep that open. We will board members usually take their vehicles down to the building, because we use those kind of as to move stuff, bring stuff in. Not this year, we haven't had power in the building, so, this year we haven't run a concession stand because we just haven't been able to. And this would come a weekend's kind of our last weekend. So parking is difficult, admittedly. And we have had weekends where it's gone all, the reason that road is torn up in some areas is because of the way people park, you know.
They park along that road.
Oh, yeah,
sometimes.
they've parked all the way out to Kings Bay Road, sir.
Yeah, they weren't Saturday.
We had the church tow a couple of cars a couple of years ago. We don't have as, you know, we kind of, just by design, the club kind of scaled back what we did with, as far as with outside clubs, simply because of the ingress egress. And because quite frankly, our playing surface was so poor, we felt like it was not the right thing to do. So that's where the parking comes in. As far as that, Mr. Smith, you know, we're focused strictly inside that fence line for us.
You know, we got to focus on the maintenance of it and
Yes, sir. Yeah,
and keep
that's
it up. We sure don't want to spend all this money, then turn around and let it get back into the shape that it's in
The reason
now.
it's the way it is now is because of lack of maintenance. I mean, it's a distinct lack of, PSA does what they can. I'm not trying to throw the PSA under the bus. Absolutely not. That's not the case.
They can only do so much with
They
what
can only
money
do so
they-
much, and you
they
can't,
get.
I heard y'all talk about irrigation. I watched that pump blow out before he did, because I was out there when they did this renovation, and it ran for a while. We had sprinkler heads leaking throughout the complex with just big mud holes. Now they're all kind of cut off, but it was not maintained. And if it had been maintained, we would not be having this conversation right about now, because I would happily bring you pictures of the way it did look, you know. And it was, again, I think I forwarded, you know, some things that we did that US Soccer asked us to do for a grant process a few years ago. But that's where, right. If you don't maintain it, there's no need to do it, because it's, out here, man, just like the bugs get it, the ants get it, the drought gets it, and then it's over. Sorry.
Well, our plan was to not only maintain this, but maintain the other parks as well.
Yes, sir.
But we've got a funding challenge.
Yeah, oh, yeah, and as a taxpayer, I myself, I'm very appreciative of that. Because I pay taxes here too, you know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's, to answer your question, Mr. Smith, that's.
No, that was very helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
And from, if I remember from our first work session on Parks and Recreation, some of these new play spaces can be kind of pricey. Is that correct?
I couldn't.
When you're saying play spaces, can you?
I think he's talking about the playground equipment.
Playground equipment,
I mean, it just depends on what
right.
Thought I turned it on. It just depends on what kind of playground we want out there. I mean, I think Glenn County had just built one not too long ago, about a year ago on Blythe Island. I think they paid $500,000 for theirs, but it is beautiful. I mean, it's like top of the line. I think you could get by. I mean, just right here at Cornelia Jackson, I think we spent just over $100,000, and you can kind of see what we got from that. So just depends on what kind of expectations we're wanting. But for this play structure, it's not a massive play structure. It's just something for the little kids to play on while they're,
And that was the restroom next to it?
and the restroom is just to the left of that. Yeah, if I can, let's see if I can get
The
it.
red is a,
Right, maintenance.
One thing
No,
I'll say
it's-
about
no,
maintenance,
They're talking about a different,
just for you guys to keep in mind and remember, you know, what Mr. Lake was just talking about, maintaining this, is whether or not y'all are wanting to incur logistical cost in transporting all of the maintenance equipment back and forth from Woodbine to that location.
one thing you don't want to do is have a mower cutting on the side of the road, cutting weeds and stuff like that, and then end up out here at this facility transferring those weed seeds.
I
That's
hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, and just getting back to your playground, I mean, the Thomas and Hutton had scoped almost 125,000, so this definitely isn't what, like Blythe Island is that Glenn County built. I mean, this is much, much smaller.
How much was the additional restroom structure next to the playground? Sorry, I'm not looking at the sheet.
Yeah, I
Look,
mean,
You're looking right down
yeah,
at
it's,
it,
yeah,
so-
you should have it there in front of you, but just over 200,000 is what they had initially spec'd out.
200, 125K. How much was the maintenance structure? You could probably get to it faster than me, so,
The new maintenance area, now this included the demolition of the putt-putt area.
okay.
And I think that truthfully, I think they spec'd out way too large of a facility. I think that we could get by with a much smaller facility, maybe even the Kwanzaa huts that are out there. I mean, if we were to demo those and put those back up. I think the major cost that we would incur is just brand-new screws and a concrete foundation.
So where I'm going with this, and it sounds like maybe you can see it as well. If a playground's not necessary and we're going to keep the existing restrooms, and we can lower this, or we can reduce the size of the maintenance structure to what already exists with the Quonset huts, I think we could fit them where that playground and restroom space is.
The question I think for you all to answer is just where do y'all want all of these facilities to actually be? And do you want them right there for observation and potential access from the people that are going to be out there? Because I think the biggest issue we face now, and I think if you were to try to put them there into the future, I think one of the reasons why y'all, well, my understanding was one of the reasons why we were putting it there was because it's further away. We don't have to worry about kids or anybody walking up to it, touching it, messing with it. So, I mean, that was the understanding I had, but it's totally up to y'all where y'all want to place things.
Yeah, because we've had complaints of people being able to go and get on the PSA equipment and stuff where it's at now. That's one reason why we were talking about moving it and putting it behind, a fence or something to keep people from going back there and climbing on the equipment.
Those, from what I've seen, those Kwanzas are quite large and could fit probably 2 or 3 mowers in just one of them. And they do lock and are secured. And also too, I mean, being pushed back and away, I mean, that's less line of sight for someone to maybe hide back there and do the things that we're worried about happening over here. A lot of the PSA equipment's not going to be there after we divest. Is that true? Or are we going to keep that stuff on site?
No, the PSA equipment will move. Now, right now, they're still using that administrative building or whatever you want to call it. Eventually, they're going to need to find a new home for their equipment that they store in there. They keep their football pads and helmets and stuff like that. So for now, that needs to stay until they can find a new home for it. How long that'll take, I don't know.
Let's go back a minute to the huts. They're located in the light blue area.
Yes, sir.
If parking's a
Currently,
problem, and we keep the huts, we're gonna lose
you don't have to
a
keep them
third of
there.
the total. So how big a problem is parking? If we kept the huts and we lose the blue area for parking,
You don't keep the huts there. They would have to be moved because the parking is a serious issue from what I'm gathering
that's
from
my
the
question is,
people that go out there.
so we need to keep the blue areas for parking.
Blue and
So we can
green.
move the huts.
Yeah, move the huts to where the $125,000 play space is going to go and the $200,000 restroom that doesn't need to be built anymore because we have air conditioned and heated restrooms out there already. So I'm saying the Quonset huts could be moved into that footprint. I mean, we're talking about financing, and so by financing a smaller scope of the project, we could, lessen the burden on the taxpayers and still get this done.
In my opinion, you're gonna need those larger restrooms in the future. The more people you get out there, the more restrooms you're gonna need.
What is the current parking as it sits today? What's the rough count? I know it's not lined or anything, but does anybody have a possible number on how many cars they can fit out there?
It's not lined, but I would speculate 150.
And we're moving it
Or
to 250?
no, not even, excuse me, let me retract that. Not even 150 because just the light blue area would be adding 73, I think, 75, somewhere around there. So maybe 100 if you're lucky.
So, okay, so we'd be adding about 75 cars.
Well, I think once you get a much more structured parking plan in that dark blue area, and then you add the 70-plus spaces that is in the light blue area, the engineers are speculating somewhere around 213 total parking
okay.
spaces. But what I'm saying is without having a lined parking plan right now, some
Oh,
of,
absolutely.
I think
Chaos.
you're probably realistically only getting 100 vehicles out there. And I think even then, you're starting to encroach on to all that PSA equipment.
I know you said you've only received one bid. Did it come in high? Can you tell me if it came in higher or lower than this?
It came in higher, I mean, but, you know, that's not uncommon. I think the majority of all of our construction projects tend to come over, and then we do end up having to value engineer, but it's not necessarily, when we do value engineer, sometimes it's to the point where we just have to rebid it. And I think in this case, it's not so much that, it's more so that we just received one bid. I think if y'all are wanting to value engineer, it just depends on how much y'all are actually wanting to cut and how much you guys are comfortable with actually performing. I think if you're trying to achieve what I thought originally, trying to have a premier location for a complex where there could be some local play, but then also helping out tournament play, just coming into the community, then, you know, I think you may want to kind of think about those things, but it's up to you all.
But we can't go with one bid. We got to get three. Am I correct?
Well, not necessarily, no, not on this. I mean, what you're referring to is more of just like the quotes. I mean, when we do an RFP, it's competitive. We post it onto the state website. I mean, if y'all truly chose to, you could accept the one bid. I'm not necessarily recommending that. I think you may want something to benchmark off of.
I don't think we should accept one bid. Excuse me, we need to value engineer what we can. And, you know, value engineering's got a lot of different components. One is we can build it just like the bids came in. We get what we want. Secondarily, we can go through the bids and trim back some small items, but we still get the product that we're looking for. The third step would be, if you truly want to save money, then we get away from the product. We degrade the product we're trying to get to. Then at some point, you get to where you don't build it at all. So my point is, we need to rebid it. We need to value engineer what we have now, take out some of the wants and needs, but it still makes it functional for the uses we want. We still want it to be a nice facility. We don't want to degrade it to where it's not anything more than a rural ball field, right? But not to the point where we start degrading the product, is what I'm saying. So, and I don't know, I've done value engineering many, many times, and if you can cut on a well-designed product, now understanding the product you want is what you're bidding toward, right? If you can cut 5 to 10%, you've done as much as you're ever going to really do without degrading the project. And that's just my opinion after having done this many, many times. But the point is, we need to rebid it and we need to value engineer it.
And my personal goal is to have a top-notch facility.
Absolutely, that's where I'm going is,
I don't want to do it halfway. If we're
no,
going to do it,
I'm not
we
saying
need to
that at
do
all.
it
What I'm
right.
saying is, there's things we have in the line items that we can take out, and it doesn't affect the total.
Yeah.
It does not affect the function of the project, right? So that's my point. But with only one bid for this kind of money, we need to rebid it. And hopefully we get more than one bid again, or on the second go-around, but,
I will say too, I mean, there's also timing, so I mean, depending upon if y'all wanted to tackle this thing in phases where you do the vertical construction as like a phase 2, and what I mean by vertical construction would be like the restrooms, the 25 by 25 canopy, or the maintenance building, those kinds of things. Those can be, you know, like a separate phase, if you will, where you just tackle the main needs first, and then secondarily, when you all want to, if you ever do want to, then you would look at doing the vertical construction thereafter.
well, the bids we have now are not vertical at all. It's just site work. We have no vertical.
We did have alternate, but they did not bid on those alternates.
They chose not to bid on the
Chose
alternates.
not to bid on-
But we had
on the
design,
vertical
we have-
alternates,
We have
correct.
plans we can put out for the vertical construction.
We will, yes, sir.
Okay.
We did not within this bid.
Well, my point is, we've got the site work component. We've got to get to the vertical component at some point. We need to know what those numbers are for the total. So just to bid site work, it's great, but we don't know how much it's going to cost to build the restrooms and the other vertical components. We need to take care of all that at one time if we can. It just makes the financing so much easier, so we know what we're dealing with.
Just looking at what we were given a year ago, right, so I don't know how it compares to the bid we received. But if we forego the restroom, the new restroom, the playground, the water and sewer coming into the facility, and the demolition and building of a maintenance facility there, and if we just focus on the playing spaces, the irrigation, the lighting, all of the parking, and including the shade structure, so the little pink square, We come in at about 2,929,390 based off of the original projections. So, I mean, that could be $1 million saved right there, and we can come back in later on like another splost, or when we get some money in our pockets to do some other improvements. But this would help reduce the scope, and maybe we could put that out for bid, and that addresses a lot of the really serious concerns out there.
How did you come up with the 2 million? I'm just trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I got the 103,120. That is the entry road. Okay, well, hold on, I took that off my numbers. So I got 42,500, that's for the shade structure. 117,000 was for the concession stand renovation, so I included those in my number. $172,950, that was the gravel overflow parking area. $884,140, that was for the, help me out here, asphalt parking area and drop-off. $850,000 for the field lighting, and $905,300 for the multi-use fields. So, math might have been a little off. I might not have wrote a 500 when I wrote out the full
So
numbers.
you wanting to leave parking like it is now?
No, sir. This included the asphalt parking area and drop-off and the gravel overflow parking area. That was included in my,
Maybe it's better if I just ask, what did you cut out?
gotcha. The new restroom, the playground, the water and sewer, and then the maintenance, the demolition of that red area, and then the maintenance. And then I had 103,000, so the entry road. If you do the entry road, it comes out to like right over 3 million.
Well, the entrance road needs to be improved.
But what's the most pressing? I mean, if we're trying to limit the scope, I understand, I don't disagree with you. I've seen it. I mean, I know it's really curvy and it's hard to see what's coming around the bend. So, I mean, that puts us at 3,074,510 if you want to throw the entry road on there as well, but that saves us about $1 million. And that's just based off the projection. Again, I haven't seen the bid. That reduces how much we need to finance. But still make
Let's
it.
keep in mind that the
The quants,
the quote you see here is just by division. When you get into the bid process, it's going to be by line item, curb and gutter, water, sewer. You can better define the cost savings based on the more specific bid items, which this is good for budgeting, but it's not good for what we're talking about doing.
right.
Yep. Not saying you can't cut. I'm just saying we can get much more
My concern,
specific than
if
this.
we put it back out for bid with the same exact thing, we're gonna get somewhat of a similar result with the same price tag. So I'm just trying to limit the scope that we put back out for bid.
Well, it depends on what we want to take out. It's back to my comment is we can take out whatever we want to, but we want to keep the product that we have.
That's what I'm trying to talk to you guys
Right.
about now.
Yep.
On what we wanna
I agree.
take out.
One of the things that in the preliminary studies with the engineer, and this is for Mr. Lake, and all you gotta do is just give me a head nod, but one of the reasons why water and sewer was such a big part of this was because do y'all not have issues right now with water pressure at the current concession building? Okay, that's one of the reasons for the upgrade there. I don't know how you fix it. It wasn't just that, though, it was also to improve the water pressure and the sewer for the new restroom. So I think you're still gonna have to have, I mean, if you want the restrooms and the concession building to work properly, you're still gonna have some water and sewer upgrades.
Can you do a well and a septic system for less than $187,000?
Well, again, that's going from a 4-inch water main to an 8-inch. So,
Is your question whether to go to septic and just an individual well? Because
Well, that's
There's
the
a-
current setup out there, is a well and a
in
septic
a septic
system.
system, yeah.
And if you were to, an improved septic system in a well, still sounds a lot cheaper than running water and sewer.
just
The
know, I
property.
think with
I'm not
the,
sure I'm not sure the DNR EPD is going to allow you to do that because city water is so close.
Well,
That's a
there's,
permitting
it's
issue.
already it's existing out there already.
I know, but if you're going to upgrade it, then it triggers a different permitting procedure where you need to go back to DNR or
Oh, yeah.
EPD to see if they would even allow that. I don't think they will.
That's something we should look into. That's a good idea.
That's not a bad idea at all. It's just something we need to consider is it's not as easy as just redoing the septic tank without DNR approval because we are so close to city water and sewer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I think it's
Well, so,
500 feet, Joey, I think. I think it's 500 feet, yeah.
yeah, but where
I'm not sure how it
where
ever
I
got
live-
permitted to start with a septic tank, but
Where I live, everyone's on city water, and everybody has a septic system. So I don't know. We definitely want to get DNR to take a look at that,
Well,
though.
you're in the unincorporated area, aren't you?
I am, yes, sir.
That is in the city limits.
We actually,
Sure, we could work with
You're on.
our friends in St. Mary's and,
well, they've actually got codes that tell us how many trees we've got to put up and what kind of trees. I thought that was a little odd.
We're following their ordinance.
you're on Point Peter, right?
I am on Point Peter, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's an area where, because of where it's located, you could probably redo your septic tank because of where you're located, but here, I don't think they'd allow
I mean,
it.
that's smack dab in the
Something
middle
to
of a
pursue,
marsh.
but-
This is further inland. Yeah, DNR would have to tell us. I'm just trying to, again, think of alternatives to,
But then you got to think about, septic systems got to be designed. I know this one's probably not designed for the number of kids that are playing ball. A new
You got to
system,
look at what's going on in the future.
absolutely. So,
Gotta plan
not
for-
saying we don't need to go down that road, but it's something to
well,
talk
I mean,
about.
once we build the parking, there's finite parking space there. I mean, the future is what we're looking at. So, I mean, if we build it to suit what's currently there, I don't know how you could squeeze any more parking in for more people.
I know we're starting to run out of time, but I need some serious direction on what you all want to do with the site, so I know what direction we need to move into for the rebidding process. I just
I'm in
need a general
favor of
consensus.
rebidding it out like we scoped it out the first time. If we're going to do this project, we need to do it and do it right.
Well, with the items that I removed, it brings it down to $2,929,390. And I think we should put it back out for bid at a reduced scope. If you want to include the road improvements at $103,120, that's a $3 million project. It's $1 million right off the top, like a haircut.
You put it out for bid with alternatives. Just for instance, the gravel parking area, make that an alternative bid, so we know exactly what that's going to cost us. The orange area, which is the mini golf, the future maintenance building, make that a separate line item in the bid. You still have all the line items, but you can easily take those things off the bid if they're defined. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I will say those sections are defined within the bid right now. Each one of those sections is defined within the bid.
Not separately.
They are separate.
The line items are separate, but what I'm saying is, take for instance, it says gravel parking. We know where gravel parking is, only because it's all gravel. If you take the orange area, which is the mini golf and the future maintenance area, that's not delineated separately. It's in the total, but it's not delineated.
The only thing that was spec'd out within the bid for currently was the demolition of the putt-putt course. The alternate was to build the maintenance building, and there was no bid on that.
Oh,
Part of the base bid's what I'm getting at. So I'm saying next, when we go back, we do alternates. We just make sure the alternates are better defined than they are now.
Okay.
so the new maintenance area for $341,550 doesn't include any of the vertical structures, or it does? I just want to make sure I understood.
The number that you're looking at from the engineer included the vertical building. but
And the
there was-
demolition.
Yeah, but there was no bid on the vertical building on the bid we received.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
all of the excitement that I have heard for the complex to begin with is mostly from this side of the dais and a few people on the other side of the dais. But as the representative of the people of my district, I'm not hearing that excitement. I'm not hearing clamoring for doing this in the first place, and I'm certainly not hearing clamoring for tearing down existing assets and moving things around that don't need to be moved around. So I have to weigh in on this to say that I am not inclined to be supportive of this until I hear from a number of people from my district who really want to do it. I'm not hearing it. And having said that, I don't want to go into it any further. That's the sum and total of where I stand as we sit here tonight. Thank you very much.
Mic drop.
Take up an offering.
Well, as someone who's visited our parks when sports are going on, I hear complaints about all of the sports fields, not just the soccer field, but, Howard Peoples Park, the Lions Club Park in Kingsland, the ball fields in St. Mary's. All of these sports areas need to be improved. This is the only major park that the county owns, and I think we should do it and do it right.
And I don't doubt but for a moment that you're hearing that when you go to those sports venues, but you're there in the thick of the people who are excited about it. And that is a percentage of the population that is not reflective of the greater percentage of the population who have a stake in this in terms of their tax revenue, tax payments, and the other pressing needs. I'm sitting here looking at a man in this community who could stand up here for the rest of the evening and tell you about human needs in this community. I'm looking at people who can talk about the animal control needs. I'm looking at people who can talk about the roads and the infrastructure that's crumbling in this county. And I think we need to look at needs versus wants and priorities. Thank you.
We need to invest in our kids.
I am trying to offer some cuts, ways to limit how much this is going to cost, but if it's an all or nothing scenario and we have to take out debt to do it, I'm more inclined to agree with Mr. Goodman and say, let's not do it at all then.
We put it out for bid, we get more bids, then once we see those bids, then we can do our cuts.
Do we get an opportunity to see the bid that already came in? Or is that not something, is that something we have to see all
I
together?
mean, you can, but again, if you're not gonna entertain it and y'all wanna do a comparison bid, we're gonna have to reject it.
I don't know if I don't want to entertain it if I haven't seen it. I'm not trying to play word games.
No, I'm just being honest with you. I mean, if y'all entertain it, then, I don't wanna give that contractor false hope.
The one thing about exposing the bid number is now everybody knows what the bid number is. So when you rebid it, the other 3 or 4 contractors or whatever, they're gonna know what the number was to begin with.
Is
So
that
it's not fair,
something
it's
that could
not
be
fair
reserved?
to the single contractor to expose the numbers.
Is that something that would fall under executive session or no?
No, it would not.
So without seeing it, I don't even,
Or you can see it, you
Okay.
just don't want to put it out for
Yeah,
public.
you can see it, yeah.
We don't want to taint the bid pool.
understandable, yes, sir.
What happens is, I bid jobs with the county for years. They were always sealed bids. I never knew what someone else was doing. If you put that out, then the whole community knows, even the people that can bid know what the bid was. So
So you're saying it could potentially come in lower?
it could.
Okay.
They could actually go $1 lower. I've seen them do it.
So with either one of these 3 plans, right, if we continue, how do we fund that without a tax increase next year? Like, how do we fund the payments on this?
Yeah, I think that's up to you all. If you want to pull from fund balance, I think you would still be above the 25% policy limits that we've have.
If we don't want to do that, though, because I thought,
That's up to you all.
We don't have any other choice.
well, we do, we could limit the scope of our work and put it back out for bid and reduce the amount that we even have to take out a loan for. That's one way to do it.
I think you're getting that backwards in a way. We need to bid out what we want to try and accomplish. Then if it comes in too high, that's when we make our cuts,
Sounds like it did come in too high, though. He just
with
said,
only one bid.
and if we put it back out for bid with the same exact thing and we get one bid again, what are we going to do?
I've actually put projects out for bid 3, 4 different times. It just,
So if it comes back a second time,
some of it's timing,
same
some
amount or higher,
of it's timing. Some of it's, the general contractors in the area may just be too busy. We've even had road projects where GDOT just had so much work that local work wasn't really a priority, and therefore the contractors didn't bid on it. So, it just depends. There's a number of factors as to why contractors may not bid. Even the uncertainty of the board is a definite you know, reason as to why some contractors may not want to bid. I mean, I don't know. There's
Well,
a,
if
Have you
there-
had any feedback from any contractors?
not yet. I mean, we've asked, but I haven't had any feedback yet.
If there are any contractors listening at home, I hope they can tell that none of us disagree that we can't afford to do the full scope of things at the moment, given our current revenue. So we're gonna
One
have
thing we need
to,
to be cautious of is, we keep talking about chipping away at the fund balance. We got to be careful because we got other projects besides this one.
right, that's what I'm trying to avoid as well, Robbie, absolutely. So if, I know the hour is coming to an end, I say we reduce the scope of work and put it back out for bid. But obviously, we're not doing any kind of motions here tonight, so I guess, where do we go from here? I know you're looking for some sort of direction from the board, but how
I
do we
just need
present that to
direction,
you?
but everybody's kind of different. I don't hear a majority kind of push to do one thing or another. So I don't really, right at this moment, I'm still stuck.
Well, again, my view is we put it out for bid, the total package, and then we'll make the cuts afterwards.
Can we look at the bid that we got and make cuts now?
Yeah, let me, I'm gonna say this, is that this has nothing to do with transparency at all, but we have a bid. We can use those numbers as a basic, is the basis of value engineering. We can redo the plan somewhat before we rebid it, so there's a change in the plan. It won't be sweeping changes, but that allows the next bid to be different than the same plan we have now. We've got some alternatives in the bid. We can take those, kind of marry them up so we have fewer alternatives, except for the ones I talked about, put it back out for bid with a changed plan. And I don't know if Thomas and Hutton's proposal allows any plan changes at this point. I don't know.
I'd have to go back and review the actual agreement
I don't
with
think
them.
I don't think the design would change at all. It's just a matter, do you use header curve or a rollback curve? Do you-
But if we're gonna be moving buildings, that may change a little bit. The one thing I need to know though is like, if that's the route you all want to go with, and I mean, y'all still need to decide upon that, but if that's the route y'all want to go with, I need to know what are y'all willing to forego, so that way we can start negotiating with,
I wouldn't get into changes with moving buildings. I'm talking about take the basic plans, value engineer what we can out of it. It's not gonna be a ton of money, but it's something, and then rebid it that way.
but that's the thing that I need to know, because there's been ideas brought up about moving the Kwanzaa huts. And if that's gonna be the case, if that's something y'all truly want to do, then again, I mean,
I think we're gonna spend more time and money and energy with engineering to do that. So I don't recommend doing that at this point.
Would we? Because have you seen the Quonset huts, Robbie? They're pre-existing metal,
Yeah,
very sturdy structures, and we're talking about erecting a whole new construction after a full demolition. I mean, I don't think the engineering cost is gonna rival the actual cost of doing it by any means.
So do we really need maintenance structures out there? If we
Well,
gonna-
of course.
If we're gonna move the
I
equipment.
I agree with Ben saying it's gonna cost a lot more money to be hauling dirt and sand and equipment back and forth from Woodbine or God knows where.
I'd go along with that.
But you can fit more than enough equipment in both of those existing structures, and if just moving them to the left opens up that area for parking, again, I just don't think the engineering cost is gonna outweigh the actual cost of building that structure.
No, it definitely wouldn't. My point is just going to drag it out longer and longer, which I guess we got time on our hands, maybe, I don't know.
Sean, my recommendation is that we put it back out for bids like it is, but we line item it. Section it off, line item it. When it comes back in, then you can start your value engineering. That's a
That's a
presupposition there, really.
Isn't
all
line
that
item?
is.
The bid's probably got 300 or 400 line items in it.
Yeah.
That's not a line item bid, that's just a concept.
It's
When do you
just-
think I
yeah.
could see that, Sean?
But if
Whatever
we
you
do
want
it
to.
that way, then we can, we can look at the value engineering and what it would save us. That's my recommendation.
I have offered
And
my,
Jim's and his.
I have offered my recommendation as far as did you want me to relist them, or,
I think I can go back and watch, but that's okay.
thank you, sir?
All right. That help you any?
No.
I just want to kind of go one real quick. I know we only got 5 minutes left, but yours is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but yours is to base off the current bid, value engineer that, then rebid it. But again, I need direction on what are y'all willing to forego Because I mean, I'm gonna have to, we're gonna have to do all this over again. I'm gonna have to come back to y'all and say, okay, we've cut out however much money. Now what are y'all willing to forego, or are y'all happy with this? So that's kind of, we're gonna have to have a phase two to that if I go that route. If I go Commissioner Smith's route, and he's telling me to forego all these things, then. okay,
New
yeah,
maintenance area, water and sewer coming in from the main road, the new restroom facility, because we're going to keep the existing restroom facility. We're going to ixnay the playground. The concession stand renovations, I mean, I see electrical, plumbing, mechanical, that should address some of the restroom issues there in that existing. So yeah, ixnay, new maintenance, water, sewer, new restroom facility, and playground.
So if we do that.
Irrigation, you forgot that. You
Well,
gotta
no,
have that.
I think he wants to leave irrigation because we need that.
Well, so you said we were going to use irrigation with the city water or with the well water?
You don't want to pay
Wanna
city
pay that.
water bill.
Oh,
to
yeah, yeah,
irrigate.
yeah. So the irrigation, I imagine, is that included in the multi-use field?
Yes.
So yeah, I was keeping that, Martin.
Okay.
But
So-
again, so that's another recommendation, and then the chairman and Commissioner Turner, yours is to rebid it as is in hopes of getting more bids, but as well as just making sure everything's line itemed out appropriately.
Jim, if we had to compromise, would you be willing to support this project if we forego some of the items on here?
I agree with what you're proposing.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm still at 2, so I need 3.
Well, it sounds like these three gentlemen
What?
consistently are on the
I
same.
think they said bid as is. You said value engineer and then
With
rebid.
value engineering first,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
based on the bids we have now, which is,
Right.
they're real numbers, so we have something to base it on. These numbers are concept numbers to get to a budget that has nothing to do with line items. And I can tell you, just right off the bat, I'd be surprised if you can do playground surfacing for $125,000. So that, whatever that number is in the bid, we can take that out if we choose to value engineer it out. But it won't be, it'll be more than $125,000.
But if you get a bid and they line item it, if it's line item,
Then we can take it out.
very easy to take
At the
out.
end.
Lighting is a line item. If we-
Huh?
Lighting, I mean,
Yeah.
I think lighting is debatable. I think we need it, but if it gets down to how much money we can spend,
Well, I
you
think
can
it
pull lighting
is.
out, that's a
Well,
big chunk.
that's why I keep saying we bid it out like it is now. And then once we get the bids back and if it's line item, then we can go by line and say, do we want this, do we want that? And cut it then.
I think Cody, Martin, and I are in agreement.
Sounds like it. Oh, that's a first, isn't it?
We
Doug?
are?
We are. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
So what's the agreement?
Wow.
So,
What's the agreement, Martin?
what is the agreement?
You're in agreement with them.
I want to go with the full thing and then pull it out.
Oh, so we're not in agreement.
No.
Damn, I tried.
It was a false wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. All right,
I don't have any more direction than what we started with, so I'm still kind of stuck.
No.
and
But we
gotta-
can't vote because it's a work session.
No, but I mean, again, we're gonna have to have a part 2 anyway, so whether we bid it out as is and line item it out better, or whether we do our best to try to value engineer what we have currently as staff, but again, without direction on what you guys really want to take out. Commissioner Smith has made some recommendations, but there's only 2 people stating that. So I'm still stuck.
Yeah,
I mean, I can value engineer this thing as much as you guys want me to, but until y'all tell me what to actually start cutting, I'm just gonna have to, we're gonna have to do a part 2 of this, is my point.
well, looks like we're gonna have to do a part 2. Let's, think this over and we'll come back on another work session on this.
I just hope when people wonder why we need to, why the need for the increase in taxes, they look back at this meeting and see that it's the same three commissioners stalling progress.
Took a jab.
All right, we're gonna close this work session and we'll come back in about 5 minutes to start the regular meeting. start off by the invocation delivered by Commissioner Goodman, and join us for the pledge.
Let us stand as you are able to. And gentlemen, please remove your covers. Let us pray. Our Father and our God in heaven, we come to thee in prayer. We always thank you for the many blessings that you've bestowed upon us, even though we are unworthy of most of the things that you provide for us. Father, make us good stewards of your world. Father, imbue us with integrity and commitment to do the right thing tonight. Give us wisdom to arrive at the correct decisions. As always, Father, we pray for those who are in uniform here and abroad who stand in the breach between us and those who would harm us. Father, you know the needs of the people of Camden County, and we ask that you grant blessings upon those. All of these things we ask in thy most precious name. Amen.
Roll call, Katie.
All commissioners are present.
All right, are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, sir, there's one amendment. We'd like to retitle the proclamation from recognizing the day to the month of November as Retired Educators Month.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion, we approve that amendment. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor? All right, are there any others? Hearing none, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we got a first and a second to adopt the agenda as amended. All in favor? Motion carries. This brings us to the approval of the minutes. If there's no changes to the minutes from the two September 30th public hearings and the October 21st regular meeting and executive session, can I get a motion to accept those minutes?
I have a correction for the September 30th, 2025 public hearing minutes for 10 a.m.
Okay.
It's, if you go down to where I speak, Katie, it says, if we want to. I said if we won't.
What page is it on?
Well, I just have the shorthand version in my hand. Yeah, it's, yeah.
Stated you wanted to cancel, like, if we want to have an official meeting.
Right, I said if we won't have an official meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
All right, can I get a motion to approve these minutes with that change?
I move to approve the minutes with that change.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Motion carries. This brings us to our presentation for the night. Mike, you're doing that?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, it is my honor to get to bring this proclamation before you this evening. So this is a proclamation of the Camden County Board of Commissioners recognizing November 2025 as Retired Educators Month. Whereas the education of Georgia's youth is the foundation upon which prosperity and well-being of our state and nation rest, and whereas more than 145,000 retired educators throughout Camden County and the state of Georgia have devoted their careers to providing quality education and shaping the minds of countless students, thereby strengthening our communities and enriching our society. And whereas for 68 years, the Georgia Retired Educators Association and its local units have actively promoted the welfare of retired educators, encouraged involvement in educational and civic affairs, and have worked to preserve the rich legacy of Georgia's public education system. Whereas Camden County joins in recognizing the lasting contributions of our retired educators and expresses appreciation for their immeasurable influence on generations of students. Now therefore be it resolved that the Camden County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims the month of November 2025 as Retired Educators Month in Camden County, Georgia, and encourages all citizens to honor and celebrate the dedication, service, and continuing contributions of retired educators to the community. Proclaim this 4th day of November, 2025, Ben L. Casey, Chairman, Camden County Board of Commissioners. On a personal note, both my in-laws, my mother-in-law and father-in-law, were both 20-plus year educators in Camden County, I'm proud to be part of a proclamation like this to recognize these fine folks. Do we have somebody here in the audience, I believe, to receive it? Please come on up. It's an honor to have you here with us tonight. You guys will. Ask the board to come down as well.
This is all you, though. This is your moment. Y'all ready?
Another retired educator in here, she needs to be put in detention because she won't come.
Miss June, come on. Join us, please.
33-year veteran teacher.
June.
Yeah. Cool, cool. Those things are touchy. Thank you all for everything you've done. Appreciate it.
This brings us to our first public comment section of the night. We'll limit it to agenda items only in 3 minutes. Are any registered speakers?
Yes, Dawn Gray.
Good evening, Chairman. Dawn Gray, Harriet's Bluff. I'm here tonight to speak on agenda item number 5. I want to take this opportunity to thank the individuals who have taken the time to move the missing minutes back onto the agenda. I do think it's somewhat sad, though, that, Chairman, you were aware and responded on social media of your awareness that those minutes were missing. And you guided individuals on Facebook to go to the agenda site where they could see the video. OCGA doesn't require that we, as your constituents, go to videos that are on YouTube that I was unaware that somehow this board was somehow able to control to actually see those minutes. So I'm glad that they're on this minutes, but however, you had knowledge of it prior to the last time that we met. Additionally, I want to call into the agenda itself and point out to the fact that I question the validity of the agenda that you are operating under tonight, under OCGA 50-14-1, A3A. A meeting occurs when a quorum of commissioners meet or a quorum of the committee members of it. Again, if you look to the ACCG handbook on page 9, the one that you guys are given regarding open meetings and open records law, a guide for county officials, it says that agenda-setting meetings and work sessions attended by a quorum of the Board of Commissioners or a quorum of the committee must be open to the public and are subject to the same requirements as regular meetings, even though no final action or vote is taken. Therefore, once again, you have violated the Open Meetings Act and now the Open Records Act because there was no notice given for that agenda-setting committee. Therefore, you have now approved an agenda that came out of an agenda-setting committee that was in violation of the Open Meetings Act. For example, under OCG 50-14-1, 3A, it says, for example, this is out of the book, if a Board of Commissioners creates a standing committee, such as a budget committee, that committee's activities would be subject to the law. Similarly, if the Board of Commissioners create an ad hoc committee of citizens to review the feasibility, in this case, installing a dog park, or a committee of commissioners to evaluate proposals, these committees would all be subject. Your budget committees, your agenda-setting committees, all committees that are formulated under this Board of Commissioners, once again, let me remind you, are subject to both the Open Meetings Act, which means that they are required to be noticed and open to us, and they are also subject to the Open Records Act, regardless of whether we have legal counsel who's representing the county who advises you against it. Please understand that receiving inappropriate legal counsel does not protect you individually. So once
Time's
again,
up.
thank you. I'll see you next comment period.
Anybody else?
Ben Goff.
Ben Goff from Harris Bluff. I guess I should say, shame on those that don't pay attention. To allow for the government of Camden County to communicate more clearly and keep the community informed, I request that all agendas and minutes for the calendar year 2025 be reviewed and that all needed corrections be made and formally approved by the Board of County Commissioners. I request that following the corrections and approval, a document clearly labeled corrected minutes or corrected agenda with the date of the approval identified be placed on the official Camden County website above the original official documents. Further, I request that the minutes from strategic planning sessions held on January 15th and January 16th and work sessions related to SB 581 held on 2/4 and work session held on May 20th be approved and made public. Finally, I request that in compliance with OCGA 50-14-1, that all budget committee and agenda setting minutes be approved and published. Thank you for paying attention.
Anybody else, Katie? Anybody else wish to speak before the board? All right, hearing none. At this time, we need a motion to adjourn the regular meeting and convene a public hearing.
So move.
All right, we got a first and a second to adjourn the regular meeting and convene a public hearing. All in favor? Motion carries. All right, we're now in a public hearing. All right, Cassie, you want to?
Good evening, Commissioners. Up tonight, first, we have a request to rezone. The applicant is requesting to rezone approximately 5 acres from agricultural forestry to agricultural residential zone for the purpose of subdividing the parcel. This is located in District 5. The applicant is requesting the rezoning because under AF zoning, parcels must be a minimum of 3 acres, while AR zoning requires a minimum of 2 acres. Since the entire parcel is 5 acres, the rezoning is necessary in order to subdivide this property. Here's the subject property. I tried to show the approximate subdivision line here. Here it is without our zoning layer. And then here's the submitted plat. Tract 2A will be 2.41 acres. Tract 2B will be 2.59 acres after this is approved, if this is approved, I'm sorry. And Planning Commission does recommend approval on this item.
All right, does anybody from the public wish to speak in favor of this item? Anybody wish to speak in opposition? All right, hearing none, now we need a motion to adjourn the public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we got a first and a second to reconvene the regular meeting. All in favor? Motion carries. All right, item number 1. Who's doing that one too?
It would be me, yes. All right, so we have a request for approval for the 2026 alcohol license renewals. Each year, the BOC must approve the renewal or transfer of alcohol licenses for the next calendar year. Applicants are required to submit applications for renewal, obtain criminal background checks, and get fingerprinted when required. You have the attached list of applicants which are requesting a renewal of their alcohol licenses for 2026. The applicants have all provided the required information for the 2026 alcohol renewals, and staff does recommend approval.
All right, can I get a motion on this item? I'll make a motion, we approve the alcohol license renewals. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we got a first and a second to approve the alcohol license renewals. Any discussion?
How many are there, Cassie?
It's in your packet.
Cassie's got it right there. She's counting it out for me, Chairman. Thank you.
19.
I'm surprised that that's how many alcohol establishments we have in unincorporated Camden County. That's all I wanted to point out. Thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. All right, next item, Cassie.
Up next, we have a request to rezone approximately 5 acres from AF to AR, agricultural forestry, to agricultural residential. This parcel is located in District 5. The applicant is requesting the rezoning in order to subdivide the parcel. The future land use on this is rural residential, and Planning Commission recommends approval on this item.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve this item.
Second.
We got a first and a second to approve the rezone. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, this brings us to the reappointment for the Camden County Board of Health. John Hagler is there now and wishes to continue to serve, so I'll make a motion, we reappoint him.
Did we put a request out for applications on this?
Normally, when somebody wants to serve again, we don't always do that.
How does the public know when the term is up and that they can apply?
We notify them when it's up, but usually when somebody wants to continue on in that spot and they're not term limited out, we let them continue.
Chairman, I will say that we did reappoint Dr. Patel to the Board of Health, and we didn't put that one out either a few months back.
Yes. All right, so I got a motion to approve the reappointment of John Hagler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion still carries. All right, this brings us to reappointment of Heather Crew and Leroy Felder to the Camden County Department of Family and Children's Services Board. They're on there now, and they wish to continue, and the people on the board seem to be happy with them, so I'll make a motion, we reappoint them. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we got a first and a second to reappoint Heather Crew and Leroy Felder to the Camden County Department of Family and Children's Services Board. Any discussion?
So just to clarify, these weren't advertised for applications either?
No, sir, but we do not have a policy on board appointments.
I mean, I understand that. My only thing is that the board may be happy with them, but been very apparent from communication I've received from people in my district and throughout Camden County. They're extremely unhappy with the Department of Family and Children Services. So maybe we need to put a pause on this and put out applications for people that are willing to step up and try to make a difference in that area.
Well, we got a first and second on the table.
And it'll be the same three commissioners.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? So that was 4-1. All right, this comes to the approval of the May 14th special called meeting minutes. Can I get a motion on that?
Can we get some background on this item?
Yes, sir. It was brought to my attention that the May 14th minutes were missing. At the time, I wasn't sure why. I did go back and look at
Well, I don't need you to explain your
Okay.
personal circumstances. My question is, so do we approve minutes at the following meeting? I didn't go back and look, but my understanding
Yes,
is that
sir.
these weren't
I
approved.
think we did, but they weren't the work session minutes. I inadvertently overlooked that
Okay.
at the time. Nothing was done maliciously, though.
Oh, I understand. Absolutely. Thank you. I'll move to approve the May 14th, 2024 special called meeting minutes.
Do we have a second? Second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. All right, this brings us to reports. Calendar, Katie?
There's no changes at this time.
Oh, Martin, were you going to be
Yeah.
able to be here Thursday?
No, I would like to postpone that. I've got to take my wife to the Gainesville, to the doctor. And there's no way I can make it back by 5. So if we could postpone that, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem postponing Thursday's meeting, so.
I'm willing to do that as well.
Are you wanting to postpone the time or the meeting itself?
You want to do it on a different date?
I'd rather do
Make
it on
sure-
a different date. Her appointment's at 3. By the time she gets out of there, I'd still be cutting it close, even if it was 6 o'clock.
Okay, I can get with y'all and reschedule that.
Katie,
We'll reschedule that one.
I move that we reschedule the work session scheduled for Thursday to a time and place to be determined at the next board meeting.
Thank you.
Take it, you want to vote on that? Because, that's,
Well, we have a work session that's been advertised and people are planning to come to, so I do think we should take a vote on it, yes, sir.
all right, we'll vote on it. I vote we,
Will we have a motion and a second on the floor?
So we have to
and
vote
that's
on it.
to postpone it at a later date?
To reschedule it during the next meeting, yes.
Okay, we'll talk about it at our next county commissioners meeting. All in favor? All right. County administrator comments?
I don't have any comments, Chairman. Thank you.
This brings us to our final public comment section of the night. We'll limit it to 3 minutes. Are there any registered speakers?
Yes, Mr. Ricky Manning.
Rick Mann from Bullhead. While we're discussing work sessions, that's what I come to discuss. I'd like to address the work sessions that are being conducted this week, although we just threw the one I want to discuss out the window. But specifically, I wanted to talk about the work session in addition to the 5-stand facility at the gun range. Each of you have been emailed repeatedly, and once again, you have received another email on the failures of this board and its administration to comply with the county UDCs and the state laws. It has already been shown that the range was built illegally under false data provided in the study used to approve the project. It took 37 months after opening the range to correct the improper zoning that was used to approve the gun range. Thereby, it proved that sovereign immunity at the gun range clause does not protect the county from their own UDCs in this facility. Elsewise, you wouldn't have changed the zoning. It's already a proven fact in Georgia state laws. To this date, the noise codes in UDC Section 802 and 810 are still in violation and subject each person violating this UDC to a separate offense for each day of operations, and that is according to County UDC Section 1412. I would suggest that any and all expansion and/or funding of this range be tabled until the range is brought into county UDC compliance. Also, as we seem to not be able to even fund and maintain current facilities, why will we dedicate more tax funds to a facility that is already a tax burden on the taxpayers? The addition of a 5-stand will require more man-hours to staff it, along with funds to maintain it. And this is for an additional 20 years of tax funds to an already money-losing operation. Has anyone seen a cost-benefit analysis for this 20-year period that we're fixing to add on to the gun range that's already there? I hadn't seen one. I looked everywhere, can't find one. Each time a shiny little object is dangled in front of this county, they jump on it as perceived free money without looking at the real long-term effects to our tax base. Have we not seen enough costly mistakes that cost millions in tax funds over the last few years? Yet we keep making bad decisions over and over. Along with myself and many, many others' opinion, it is time to make a change, and some of our elected representatives and administration should step to the side or be removed if they continue these failures, as they seem to put their pride ahead of what's best for the county and the citizens. The bully pulpit needs to end now. We need to address what's good for the county and what's good for the citizens and get a balanced budget, period. I want all that put in the record. Thank you, Katie.
Don Gray.
You can give that to Katie.
I'm Dawn Gray again. So I'm here now to talk about the park situation. We heard a lot of conversation tonight to which we were not able to participate in with regards to the feasibility and funds. Last week, there was conversation, or the week before, with regards to parks. So here's the one question that I have is like, have we taken a look at the departmental spending? Because when we talk about we want to bring in revenue, that we're giving $10 million to a private developer because we want to bring in revenue, then I challenge each of you to look at the Bank of America statements for this county, and you tell me what percentage of the funds that are being spent by this county are actually being spent and bringing revenue into this county. Additionally, I challenge you to take a look at what are those things being spent on. I know that several of us have made requests, but I find it very difficult in my mind to justify where somebody goes to an ATM and pulls out cash, that somehow that is okay. I've looked at your financial policy. It doesn't indicate that it is. So when we're taking a look at that it's difficult for us to take care of the facilities for our children, then maybe we need to look at what's happening in-house as well as with regards to your budget. Additionally, earlier, it was made mention about regarding the SPLOST state funds. If an item that's on that referendum is found to be not feasible, it means it's got to go to referendum before any of the excess funds are going to be expended out. So I want to remind all of you that on the SPLOST 8 referendum was the pool house at the St. Mary's Pool. I imagine that that's not feasible given the actions that have been taken in St. Mary's. So here's a suggestion. When that infeasible project at the St. Mary's Pool is put on a referendum, how will we put the $10 million given to a private developer for the sports tourism park? Why don't we put that on the referendum also? Give us an opportunity to vote on that and get that money back into the parks that will take care of our local youth. Additionally, I will remind you once again that we came to you with an adopt a park, idea. I urge you to take a look at Jacksonville because 2 weeks ago, they have started instituting what we suggested to you over 18 months ago. Thank you.
Ben Goff.
Ben Goff, Harriet's Bluff. I'd like to take a moment to remind, or at least point out, that the Quonset hut that we talked about earlier, or you guys talked about earlier, is actually two of those Quonset huts, and an additional 2 buildings out there sitting in that same area. One's a nice block building. I don't know about the other one. I didn't go around and look at it. But there are 4 buildings there. Thank you.
Anybody else, Katie? No, sir. Anybody else from the public wish to speak?
Janet Heath, the unincorporated area of Woodbine. I would like to thank you that you seem to be putting more effort into hearing from the public. We all received by email a form that we could fill out to say how we wanted to receive information from you, but it wasn't clear to me how we should get our information to you other than an event like this, and there's no exchange. It's very difficult to have the exchange. So is there a way to have a question and answer box? Those questions get assigned to the commissioner that it first involves, or some way that the public can have a way to ask specific questions and then get good feedback or ideas that you're thinking along the same lines as the public. So just some way to keep this progress going, that we are improving our communication. And with that said, I want you to know that our District 1 chairperson, our District 1 commissioner, is having a town hall meeting at the Woodbine Library on Thursday of next week, so November 13 at 6 p.m. if a work session doesn't get scheduled. So that's already scheduled for Thursday the 13th, 6 p.m., Woodbine Library. And any of you who want to join us if you can, or use our county libraries, the 3 libraries, to hold town hall meetings and have a way to communicate with the public. And when we saw the things about the parks the other day, you might have noticed that in all of the North Camden parks, we now have little free library boxes where books are being shared. I've been going to all of those boxes two times a week, 1 and 2 times a week, refilling the books. And the books are being used and appreciated by all of the children. We did have vandalism at the Cornelia Jackson Park over Halloween weekend. They busted out the plexiglass. Let's think about cameras. We know that that particular park does have vandalism, and we're hoping that by community taking ownership in these parks, that we can make a difference. So I had not heard that there had been an adopt a park idea proposed, but I am definitely proposing that we have the neighborhood start adopting these parks. It would help you greatly. I know it's going to help Woodbine, since Woodbine has to take over some of its parks again, and they're probably not prepared to do that without some community involvement. So let's consider that. Back to the agenda items where you had some reappointments. It seems good to me that you announced those reappointments, and it's a way to let the public know what positions are being served by citizens. If someone else applies for one of those positions, you can vote.
Thank you. Anybody else? Come on up, John.
I'm John Wojcik, Clark's Bluff. Blood pressure got up a little bit with your business meeting about the sports complex. We're looking for a lot of money. I suggest we get some of that money from the JDA. I've been around, I retired in 2008 from the base here, and I've been paying attention to what's going on with St. Mary's, and a lot of promises by Mr. Coughlin about what they're going to do with all this property, and nothing has been done except a lumber yard built at the old airport. And there was a lot of promises what they were going to do with it. There was $3 million, almost $3 million from the state that helped bring all that dirt in there. And it seemed like Mayor Mosley said, we're going to do this. Coughlin said, we're going to do that. Then you also got that over there by the old mill that they promised to build condos and whatever. There's nothing been done with that other than maybe a lawsuit or pending litigation. I went and looked at this industrial park. You got a parking place for Meridian Waste. You got a place where they recycle old oil. You got the egg roll place. You got a warehouse, and then you got the nitrogen place. I'd like to know how much revenue those places are bringing into Camden County. I don't know what kind of wheeling dealing JDA has done, but I don't know if we're getting any kind of money to offset some of our expenses. And I understand that maybe the JDA is going to ask for another $1 million on top of what they're getting. Put that $1 million with a sport complex. No, we got something going on, but they just got through spending what? Asking for $3 million from you guys to widen the road? To where? Go across the railroad track? I'd like to see the JDA come here and explain to us what they actually have done, not what they're supposed to do. Because there's been a lot of promises that I've been out here listening to Mr. Coughlin and other representatives when we thought about raising our property tax or taxes the last couple of meetings, and all they do is get up here and say what they're supposed to do. I'd like to know what they have done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Like I say, nobody wants to go home? I'll second that. All in favor? Martin, you in favor of that? All right, thank y'all.